And we're live with
Welcome!
Leashed Dads Podcast. We're back, guys. What up?
How's it hanging? Better not be low.
We are Leashed Dads Podcast. We are two leashed dads that get together to discuss our everyday lives while chained to our responsibilities, parental and or financial, whatever. How you doing, man? Oh, by the way, that's Justin.
That's Jared.
Jared, yes.
JCD.
That is my initials. Those are my initials for the grammar police out there.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm pretty good. Last week was kind of an off week for me. Needed some time to think towards personal stuff. And kind of got that organized or situated. I've made some necessary moves on my end here, so we'll see how that all plays out. I'm kind of following up with some opportunity, another opportunity that I've decided might be better for myself in regards to careers. So no word yet. I just recently made that change. Hopefully, I'd rather feel good about myself rather than being in a stagnant or static life. So looking for something to change. And the only way to change is to make an initiative or make that move yourself. So if you want to change your life, don't wait for somebody else to do it for you. Do it. You need to do it. That's going to be my little thing for the night. You need to make your own changes. You can't expect somebody else to make changes for you.
That's right. You are in charge of your own life. Nobody else is.
Even if you're married. Yes, I know we love to say happy wife, happy life. But at the same time, you're still responsible for yourself.
That's right.
So yeah, I've got support, but that's all right. I'm glad she's, my wife is very supportive. Sam is very supportive. She's like, you should, if you're not happy, you should find something you're happy with. But yeah, that's kind of my thing. I'm glad to be back finally here. And I think we're going to be off to a good start with this. But yeah, so mentally it was a rough week. Work has been interesting, though, to say the least, even though I'm looking at a possible career change. We've done these things called virtual meetings. We've actually finally got the okay to do virtual meetings / like in services. So we basically show our faces to the office, like kind of like we're in the office. But we're all allowed to do lunches as well. So if that's really kind of a way to get in front of the providers, we're allowed to do that. There has to be some planning ahead, so we had to plan it out for like 2 weeks to get it going, so we can get them their lunch and make sure we have everything we need to be set up before we do the meeting. So that's been fun. We've been doing a lot of practice. Today, actually, well, Wednesday here for you folks that for the release being on Sunday. Wednesday, I ended up doing my meeting or my practice meeting. I was the last one of the team to go, but we also ended up doing pretty much over like 2.5 weeks, I guess, just because things had happened where we needed to reschedule such and so on and so forth. My wife, Sam, she started, I won't call it her new job, but she started a new position / schedule. So she's still a nurse. She's now 90%. For those of you who know what that means, because she is a nurse and working at a mental hospital, working for the state. Basically, she works, it'll be like a total of 90% throughout the year. So let's say, you and I work full-time jobs, we get paid 40 hours a week, right? Her schedule would turn out to be that she's only working 90% of the year at full time. Essentially is what it comes down to. But she's now working 12 hours a day. So she gets a little more time off in a sense. So it works out though. She still gets paid she still gets paid the same amount. It's not like she's losing hours or anything like that. And she said she would also pick up time as well. I did go to the preseason one of the preseason Packer games, their last game of the
Nice.
preseason, uh, with my cousins and my eldest son, and that was fun. And then I was also playing a lot of Pokemon Go as well over the weekend, just because they had this Pokemon Go Fest going on. So ended up doing that with some friends, or like my kids, my wife, and one of our friends. So that was a good time. What about you? It's been a while. It certainly feels like it's been a while.
Well, I mean, I didn't update my. I mean, this week has been kind of a blur, but we went to a surprise visit to the Shawano Zoo or Shanoa Zoo in West Bend. Not quite sure how to say that, but it was good. It was a cool zoo, kind of smallish, good variety of animals. Saturday night, Natalie and I had a date night for the first time in a long time. I watched scary movies with the windows open and the lights out. So it was a good night.
Interesting.
We had, instead of going out because we were trying to save money because of the situation, we decided to just make whatever we wanted to make. So she had some taquitos and fries, and I really wanted some seafood, so I bought some shrimpies and made a scampi with some linguine. Damn
Nice.
good. It's just quick and easy. But it tastes delicious. So, but before that, a while ago, I was cat sitting. Well, I'm back to home, which feels good to be surrounded by all my crap, which is probably some personal hang up. I've said several times in this show where I am addicted to my crap, my possessions, not crap, possessions. Uh, so
You heard it from him. He's addicted to his crap.
that's right. String of positive days has increased until
Tonight.
I had some beers and some drinks
Thought you
Sunday
weren't going back to
night.
those.
And let's just say Monday and Tuesday and part of today was not good. Just from an energy standpoint as well as a mentality standpoint, where I was riding on high all week last week, and then even Saturday, and then it's probably all in my head. But is it really if I can't get out of a funk by just kind of wishing it away and trying to upbeat myself? No, if it's still there for some odd reason, it's definitely not at all in my head.
So tell
So
me.
I'm treating myself to an NA tonight, which is good.
There you
We
go.
are not affiliated with Athletic Brewing Company, but I do like your beer, so thank you.
And
Yes,
there you go. Shout out to the NA.
yes.
Shout out to the
And I
Athletic
like
Brewing
the
Company.
taste. I like the taste of beer. I do.
Yeah, I'm actually working on my final ale right here. You
Ah, it's
know,
your last one, huh?
well, last week, right, I had that mental slump, and I
Yeah.
told I told my friend to bring booze.
So that's what he brings.
No, he didn't bring this. He brought
Oh.
he brought 12 other bottles of booze.
Oh, okay.
He brought a 6-pack of Reds, and then he brought some Mikes. We basically went through this 6-pack of Reds that night. Granted, right, three apiece. But then he totally left the other bottles there on purpose. But
Okay.
yeah, it was a good time. Um, yeah, so no, I would say it's okay to drink in moderation. But
And I did, but it screwed up my sleep because I have been doing this thing where I turn off the screens an hour before bedtime. I'm no longer watching TV before bed, and then unfortunately this cuts into it. But this is fine.
well, we
One
got a
night is
problem
fine.
then.
No, we don't. And I've been sleeping actually really good. So, but like I said, that Sunday night was just an abs. I didn't get to bed till 11:30 because I had stopped drinking at like 7 or so. So the sugar had all gotten to my system by that point, and
Oh,
I was wide awake.
yeah, don't
Wide
you love it?
awake.
Don't you love it? I love it. Well,
No, but I did get a night to myself while cat sitting. Natalie went home a day early because the kids needed to be in their own environment. Like their father, they like being surrounded by their possessions and their beds and stuff. So yeah, I cooked a steak and just watched TV and vegged and did absolutely nothing. It was beautiful, quiet.
I love that.
Oh
Sounds like a
yeah.
good time. I mean, when you're able to do something like that and have something you've probably been craving for a while, since the household
Mm-hmm.
is now, dare I say it?
Yeah.
I'll let you say it if you really want to say it.
Well, we're vegetarian here, but
Are you a
I
vegetarian if
still
you're
eat
eating
my.
a steak, like cheating on your diet?
I don't really care that much. Am I gonna be eating a steak once a week like I was prior to this whole change? No, absolutely not. That's a terrible idea. But I love chicken salad like a lot. So I don't know if I could ever go super vegetarian because I wouldn't be able to eat chicken salad. And fake chicken salad is not the same, guys. No, it's not. Trust me.
I didn't know there was a fake chicken salad.
Well, you can make it with tofu.
That doesn't. No.
No.
Oh my gosh. I'm not going into that. That's just too much. That is
Yeah.
just way too much to even talk about. Oh no. If you're having a steak every now and then, you're definitely not vegetarian. I'm just gonna say it right there. If you're cheating on that, yeah. Sorry. You put a steak one time in general, it doesn't make you a vegetarian. It's just you have made a life choice to change to support your wife.
And healthy eating habits too, because red meat is not super good for your heart. So,
I mean,
in
tomato,
moderation, it is. It's fine. You
tomato,
need
tomato.
your iron
I
and
still cook
protein.
it. I
Yeah.
don't leave it like bloody or raw like some other people I know. Um, but my wife won't touch meat unless it's dead, like 300% cooked.
Yeah,
So it has to be
we've had
it
this
has to be well
discussion.
done. All her meat has to be well done, which is very difficult to arrange for. Um, I still like to have a little pink in my hamburgers or my steaks, whatever it may be. I still like to have my bacon a little floppy, as weird as that sounds, rather than the hard crispiness or well done. Um,
Yes.
like,
Preach.
yeah, I will preach that, but um, yeah, that's one of those things that we just have to adjust, right? We adjust our lifestyles a little bit to uh, do what we got to do, and it's kind of sad when your children follow suit. Um, I'll save that for another time because I want to kind of stay on this. So as we mentioned, weeks are awesome, or pretty much. I mean, Jared has his little slump, but Jared. I'm glad you're having some positive days. It's a hell of a lot better. Probably feels nicer for yourself from a
Mm-hmm.
mental standpoint and physical standpoint too, knowing that you're able to finally feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask this too because you said that Natalie and the kids had gone back one day early. Did she talk about how they slept? Because I know last time we talked and you guys were at the house, they had a better sleeping. Like they slept through the night. Are they sleeping through the night
It
now?
it wore off.
So they weren't sleeping through the night at Grandma
No.
and Grandpa's either.
Right.
Okay, they got used to the environment, and
Yep.
they're like, nope, we're back to normal.
Yeah, but of course they went back there Saturday and slept through the night and woke up at like 8:30. So
Oh, that's not bad.
whatever.
Hey,
Whatever.
this week we're putting our kids back into a normal schedule. Because,
Okay.
normal, I mean getting back into a school routine here.
School. Yeah.
Yep. So, oh my gosh. Let's talk some proud moments here. Um, I've got a few. But again, going to the preseason Packer game with my son, with Kane, we enjoyed the game and the bonding. He actually enjoyed it. It was his first time going to a Packer game. He was really, enjoying the game. It did take him a little bit to warm up to what was going on around him, but we did the wave at the game like 4 times.
Nice.
It pissed me off though. You know why? Because the
Why?
announcer had to tell us to stop. Like the
Oh,
announcer was trying to be the buzzkill.
why?
Because technically we were doing the wave while the Packers were on offense,
Oh,
and they,
yeah.
when you're on offense, you want to make sure that the team can hear the calls, or the communication is clean, so it's not like a broken communication between coach and the team, or the quarterback or whatnot. But it was a good time. After we made it around 4 times, we still tried to keep the wave going a little bit. Um, but the announcer's like, stop. You guys need to stop now. Eleonora is now crawling around. Like she was
Oh,
doing it a little
wow.
bit here, here and there, but now she's kind of like in full swing crawling. She was doing her little army crawl, and now she's on her hands and knees and just going. Still like I'll say walk kind of crawl.
Okay.
How like in comparison, how like you're supposed to walk, or when you start walking, it's an actual walk. She's kind of doing a walk crawl rather than like a run crawl, where she's able to go across the floor. And she's just growing up too damn fast.
Yeah.
Too damn fast. Two teeth. Probably have some more coming in already. She's crawling. I think she's a lot happier now that she's actually mobile on her own rather than having to rely on daddy or mommy to carry her around, getting from place to place. So she's not as fussy when it comes to being on the ground, where she, for a while, if you were to set her down, like she can sit up on her own too. Um, so she's sitting up pretty damn straight too. It's just, oh, Jared, I can't get over it. Like it sucks that she's growing up too damn fast. I
I
love the fact that she's doing all this stuff, but I hate the fact that she's just growing up too fast. I
Yeah,
can't make it stop.
time flies, especially
I
when they're
know.
that little. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. What about you? What are you proud of?
Well, Eleanor and I played catch for a little bit, on and off. She's doing a lot better. It's nice. And then open house kindergarten was last night, which was awesome. Yeah. Again, growing up too fast. Cherish these moments, folks. Don't let these things go by, without taking it in, please.
Yep. Nico's going into a 4K learning center this fall. Kane's in 5th grade. Arlo's in 1st grade. Sooner or later, Kane's going to be 18.
Wow.
Allie's going to be 8 at that point.
Yeah.
Like, where are these years going? I'm getting older and it's not feeling good anymore. Like, I think you want to get older when you're a kid so you can do more things. But then all of a sudden you become a parent and you're like, what the hell?
Right.
You don't want to grow old anymore. You just want to be able to be how old you are and know that your kids are still growing up to be better than you in a sense, in a way, like
Right.
like we're supposed to be teaching them. Um, yeah, but yeah, no, I'm glad that you're playing catch with Eleanor. Um, are you like throwing a baseball around, or what? How are you? What are you playing catch with?
Rubber ball the size of volleyball.
Oh, okay. So a big ball, which is nice.
Yeah.
Getting adjusted and acquainted still. Okay, that's not bad. All right, perfect. I like it. At least it's better. I mean, my kids are playing catch like that too. They want to play catch. Um, we'll use like a football or so. We're starting to get smaller balls in their hands, like a baseball, but we're not really throwing a baseball around yet because that's a little dangerous when they still don't necessarily know.
Oh,
But
a hard ball? Yeah, it is.
yeah.
Very dangerous.
Especially when I have to, underhand toss it or make sure they're not afraid of the ball. But they're pretty good with playing catch with a football. Just got to make sure that I'm not throwing it too hard like a bullet at them so they're not hurting at the end of it.
No fastballs, JJ. Come on.
I don't do that. I only do fastballs to my buddies. So, or the ones I know that can take it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So, tonight's show, I know Jared, I don't remember him saying it, but tonight is all
Financial
about
responsibility,
budgeting.
something like that.
Yeah, responsibilities. We want to kind of talk about budgeting, talk about our experiences with budgeting here a little bit. I've got some interesting stories, um, but by no means are we going to be experts. We just want to point out some things
Hell no.
just point out some things you can consider. Or if you really need to, there's, I'm sure, finding an accountant, finding a financial advisor. Yeah, those things do cost money, but at the same time, that's what they're there for, though. Um, there's some things that maybe to help people that are in tough times, or when you're in good times, what you should do with, how to budget that way, or um, special events, for example, like Christmas. But we'll certainly get through that. Um, so let's talk. What what is budgeting to you, or how, I guess, how often do you budget?
Well, right now, obviously, there's some tough times going on, and I should have been. And I'm going to talk about this more when the good times conversation comes up. I should have been more focused on budgeting during the good times instead of just willy nilly. Woo! I want that. I want this. I want that. Kind of thing. Which I don't recommend for anybody who's on a fixed income. But yeah. So anyway, um, through the tough times, budgeting to me really means going to someplace like Aldi or Save a Lot. We don't have a Save a Lot around here, but not a higher end grocery store, or even a Pick and Save sometimes can be quite pricey. If you know what I'm saying, or festival for that matter. So really, instead of going out and buying extravagant things like, oh, I really want this $5 fruit that I'd never had before, but I really want to try it, and it's only $5. Well, no, this is when you buy stuff that is basic necessities. I mean, I even splurged on this bad boy, and I got like a 6 pack for like 10 smackers, but that was pretty all right. I thought I'm not buying LaCroix or sparkling water anymore, so I kind of did a balancing act there. That's what I think of it as, just being super selective on what you buy and not going to the movies, not taking long unnecessary trips to save on gas and stuff like that, making minimum payments to bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Uh, you know, so budgeting to me is knowing where you put your money, how often you're going to do it. So again, those monthly bills that do come through, being able to, make sure you're not necessarily falling behind. Um, yeah, some budgeting is leaving people living paycheck to paycheck. That's a lot where a lot of people are here, believe it or not. You do have those families that have higher incomes, which is great for them. But then you got to think that there are some middle class that maybe even, well, there's middle class that are doing fine. Um, but then you've got the families in the lower class that are living paycheck to paycheck, just barely getting by. Um, Whether it be on their, just because of their mortgage payment, um, there are other bills that they barely can afford. I've got, I won't say it, but I feel like sometimes that's what we're at. But that's not true. That's not true at all. Um, in the past year, like the past after Allie was born, so um, from December to basically June or whatever, it felt very tough because we were on a. I won't. I think Sam finally realized that $10,000 goes pretty quick.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Like I try, it was one thing. It's like she all of a sudden realized that money disappears pretty quick when you've got a lot of bills, um,
Yep.
month over month. So yeah, and it still love her, but I think she finally kind of put it into perspective. She finally started realizing some things as well. shade thrown at me a little bit for Sam being sugar mama. It's like, hey, if you got a sugar mama, why not? Um,
Right.
we don't necessarily go willy nilly all the time either. Um, we, both have very good credit score. Um, I think last time we did a credit check was to get her a new vehicle. And I beat her up by like a point. So our credit scores are very, very close to each other, which is awesome because actually I had the better credit score for the longest time. Um, but we started, doing some financing, doing some loans or takeouts, or I won't call them loans, but they're in a way it's credit, right? You're building your credit, um, and the only way to do that is by budgeting what you have and what you
Right.
have. So I liked at first when I moved in with Sam back in 2015. Um, we ended up I created a budget because I wanted to know what I was spending, or kind of get an idea, maybe what I had to cut back, especially when I'm moving in with my girlfriend, and we both have a kid apiece at this time, and now we have a mortgage to pay. We've got phone bills to pay. We've got car payments to make. We got utilities, things like that. You got to know what you have and what you're going to have left to spend for maybe children's clothes or some of the other things, like other expenses you're not necessarily gonna, those kind of one-off expenses or once in a while. um and so like for the longest time I had a budget where actually I wonder if I still have it on one of my documents. um and I created an Excel file, like if I cut this out, for the longest time I used to play World of Warcraft, and there was like a monthly budget, monthly payment of $15.
Yeah.
Right? So, take that and blah blah blah. I had some other like subscriptions, I guess, as well, um, that I had to worry about. Maybe if I take those out and see, this is I would have a little bit extra. I'd have $15 more every month if I got rid of that subscription, what there it may be. So really, just to me, budgeting is creating a list, finding out how much you are spending, and how much you're going to have left over, like what you're going to have left to use for yourself or for fun activities. Um, Maybe not even fun activities, but you're just trying to find a way to save it for like a rainy day if anything does start going wrong. Um, because out there, as crazy as it sounds, I think if I recall, you're supposed to try to save enough for in like a 3 month emergency or something like that.
I read 6,
Yeah, it's
but
like, was it 6 months emergency, or have
yeah.
like 6 grand or something like that in
No,
case,
six
or there
months.
was there was something like that. Have enough money for in case something happens, for that would be like a 6 month thing. Um, given the circumstances, Sam taking a very long maternity leave for our last child, because it is our last child, so she wanted to spend as much time as she possibly could, um, knowing that she's never going to have a chance to do that again. Um, but that's kind of where it comes into play. We'd just gotten a new car. That's kind of costly. That payment is
Same.
kind of costly.
Yep.
Um, the mortgage doesn't stop.
Nope.
Your bills and stuff don't stop. But she also has a personal loan that she took out because the car she previously owned had engine problems after it had gone through an oil change. It still pisses me off to this day that the company is not taking fault for their fuck up, when it really was their problem, because the car was fine when we took it in, got the oil change, the next day it stopped. And they're like, nope, it wasn't us. So it's like, okay. And they're like, yeah, we have nothing right now, but if there's something in the future, we'll let you know. It's like, you're not gonna take fault. You're just gonna push it off and make us pay like 7 grand to get the fucking engine fixed. It's like, thanks guys for fucking us in the ass. So,
Yeah.
and she was nothing. She was nothing, anything but loyal to that company. Needless to say, I'm never going to that company again. If we ever buy a car from them, I'm going to slap the person that said you should go buy this car, or whatever there may be. So hopefully, I never have that brand of vehicle in my house ever again. Starts with an F.
Ferrari.
Yes. Damn. I wish I had a Ferrari. No. I'm just going to leave it at an F because I know people like their Fs. But fuck them hard. They deserve, I never want to go back there to them again. Maybe it was just the store itself, but that really left a sour taste in my mouth. So, I mean, I think my friend's going to work for one of their companies, but that's okay with him. That's fine by me. It's not.
Fiat.
Yes, Fiat. Little fuckers. No, it's not Fiat. You can be found on Road Dead sometimes.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just being facetious.
I know you're being facetious. I'm talking about other people here. I'll give them the hint. You are found on Road Dead.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
I don't really like my F that much. It's kind of scary that there could be a problem like that, and F does not like to claim fault for anything. I mean, it definitely sounds like the garage at that dealership screwed you over, but there are problems that F has had with their vehicles, including my own. Well, mine hasn't happened yet, but there are thousands upon thousands of vehicles that have failed, and they refuse to take fault.
Yep.
Yep.
And they don't even do a recall until it's too late. But yeah. So that's my take. It can be very hard to budget, especially when you have something like that. But that's where, you want to have something saved up. That 6 month kind of thing, or even a 3 month is a good starting point, I would say. Ideally 6 months, or however long something could take. So, like a surgery. I mean, surgeries are different. If it leaves you on, I think at some point, if you are used to living a dual household income, you might want to consider planning for 6 to 9 months at that point. Because now for example, you lose a single income. Now you're down to a single home income, which can definitely suck. So, I mean, Jared, you can speak a little bit on that more so than I can. But the past time I was working on it's not like we weren't off. It's just all of a sudden it came to realization how fast some of the savings that we had would go. But thankfully we had what we needed as well. So it's not like we were out. I think certain circumstances could have happened that would have left us hanging high and dry, like real high and dry. If anything ever happened, like running to an emergency room or something of that nature. But thankfully nothing like that, nothing severe like that happened. So, whew. But yeah, no, budgeting you should do anytime. It doesn't matter if it's tough, good, special event. I would say plan just to kind of figure out what your net income is. So after all your, even your income, I know you get like a gross pay, but then that becomes a net pay after taxes come out. Take that and figure out, okay, so if you split the household, like the mortgage payment, like my wife and I do, I pay about half, she pays the other half. Okay, well, there's part of my
Joint bank
paycheck,
account?
nope.
Nope.
I do not
Wow.
recommend.
Okay.
I wouldn't do joint bank account. Even though my wife and I trust each other, I wouldn't want to throw all our money in the same pot.
Fair enough.
Just for safety purposes. And there are some people that do it. I think my parents actually do it, but it's because they also have all their shit together, right? I mean, and there are just other choices too. I mean, it's not a bad choice if you are sharing or putting your money in a joint bank account. But we certainly make the separate bank accounts work. And to me, it just means, it's not like I'm going about spending extra money because it's not like it's not mine by any means,
Right.
but at the same time, it's part of Sam's income, and I don't want to blow off all her income greedily or with greed. So, not saying like I would ever do that, but that's just not ideal. I would hate to do that. It's kind of a big trust thing at that point. Not saying she doesn't trust me, but you never know what could happen. It's
So
just a
yeah,
choice,
like
and I'm glad. Go ahead.
okay,
Speak.
like you said,
Good boy.
like you said. I
Want a
mean,
treat?
yes, please. I
Dog days.
like you said. I mean, you should really, when times are good and you guys have a little bit more, even if it's just a few $100s. I highly recommend also budgeting. To me, it means that you have a balance book or a graphing notebook, or you're just writing your like spending and what you make down, so you can calculate if you have any extra that you could put that aside for a trip, a big move, or even just putting extra aside to pay off a credit card. When times are good, take that extra and put it somewhere where you want it to go. And don't subscribe to all of the TV services that you want because you want to watch one thing either. I don't recommend that. But when times are good, plan ahead. Like JJ said, if you have a household of kids and a wife, 6 to 9 months, and have a savings account. I wouldn't recommend it all in the checking because savings account usually has an interest on it if you have enough in there. So
Depends on where you go. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I
It
think
depends.
well, so I don't think you're wrong there. Savings account do have some kind of interest on it. Um, the amount of interest changes, or it's a variable depending on the bank or credit union. I think a bank has a little more of an interest rate, so you do accrue a little more compounding, but it's not substantial. But there's still
Yeah.
something. Oh, I mean, another thing to do when you're budgeting as well. I every paycheck, I would try to put a little money away. Uh, you know, again,
Same.
after you figure out what you have to pay, like your monthly bills, um, like your car payment, or let's say you have a car payment, your mortgage. Excuse me. Um, Maybe your credit card, if you have a credit card or credit cards, you're making those minimum payments. Nothing wrong with that. Or you have like a window payment or some other type of loan that you took out for house improvements, um, projects, things of that nature. Pay those. But then if you have a little bit, you still know you want to have some extra spending money, but even maybe put like $25 away each month or each paycheck. So if you're getting paid uh, bi-weekly or every 2 weeks, you're basically putting, like, depending on how much you want to put away or how much you're comfortable putting away, um, for example, I would put like maybe 20, no, every first of the month, basically, um, my checking account takes, I think, $20 out and puts it into my savings account.
Well, that's a good feature to have. Yeah.
But then I started doing this as well, where I would take $25 or something like that out of my check and put it towards my savings. So now it's, taking an extra 25 or $50 each month and going into my savings. Yeah, it's a small amount, but that's kind of where I was comfortable with, because I still have other things that do take out. Um, but you got to also remember, I think big part of budgeting is also knowing where and when your payments are coming out. So let's say your auto insurance or life insurance, things of that nature. If you have those types of plans, no, you got to remember when those things take out, because they do have monthly reoccurrence. So you got to plan for that too. That's a big part of budgeting, is planning for when you're essentially losing your money or making those payments, or I won't say losing, but investing into your future or other things that are going to save your ass if anything does happen. Um, but yeah, so I mean, budgeting is good for tough times. Um, yeah, I know Jared, like Jared mentioned, if you're in tough times, you're probably going on the low end side of things, to like not knocking on Aldi's or any of those low end stores, or those more cost effective stores for for people that have a lower income. Um, but you're just trying to find ways to consume less or spend less of your money, so you have a little bit more to work with, or have you're basically cutting costs where you can, to make sure you're still able to provide, um, make sure your family's not necessarily homeless at the end of 6 months or something like that because you fell behind on payments.
Yeah.
So,
So what do you do for Christmas time?
we start trying to, well, pretty soon here. It'll be October. I know tomorrow's the last day of August. So, and then Friday is September. Holy moly. But right around, we'll start planning or looking at things sometime here in October. Like we'll start
Okay.
buying gifts for Christmas in October, basically, and putting them away, or whatever it may be. So it's not like we basically spend, because again, this is part of the budget idea. We are planning, and we're not blowing all our money in December or anything like that, and then having nothing for December. It's just something that Sam's always done. So she's got a really good head on her shoulders. She knows what she's doing. She doesn't necessarily budget or have like a file of how much, but she already knows like her income and what is coming out and whatnot, and how frequently. So it's kind of just like a very open-minded, cognizant person she is,
Yeah.
of where the money's going and when it's happening or whatnot. So we start late October, early November, if anything, kind of like on a weekly thing, or at some point, but it kind of happens throughout that time. More or less, I would say it happens after Halloween and everything that we start looking at Christmas. So we don't necessarily do anything too spectacular though either. Like we don't hold big Christmas parties or anything like that. Yes, we still do family vacations, or not family vacations, but traveling to families, and spend time with family. Very small travel, I guess, at that point, maybe a couple hours in a certain direction, but nothing too bad. We just be cognizant. Yeah, I mean, driving's not bad. It's not like we go out of state to go visit people and do all those shenanigans and spend 200 or $2,000 to buy a plane ticket or buy plane tickets for the whole family and go somewhere. Usually all our Christmases are here in state. But yeah, Christmas is just, but we still make sure that the kids have a good Christmas. Not like we overdo it or underdo it for them. We make sure that they get kind of we try to keep them all equivalent in price,
Yeah,
throughout the
we do
time.
that too. Yep.
It's only fair. You don't spend more on one person and spend less on another. It's just not fair. It's not the right thing to do. So yeah, I mean, dual income is different. Dual income is definitely different than single income. That's for sure. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out, but
We'll see.
yeah, I'm not pointing at you. I'm saying in general, right? Sometimes it feels like, let's say you're in a relationship, but you guys aren't married, for example. So you guys really have a separate account together, or you don't have your money together yet. But you feel like, let's say you both have children, but you're trying to take care of your kid more than the other children. I think that's kind of a red flag if you guys have been together for a little bit. But you're still trying to be fair in a sense. Um, I would say it could be a little different if you weren't living together. Like if Sam and I were dating and I was living somewhere else and she was living somewhere else. Fuck, I'm sorry. Don't mean to yawn. I think it'd be a little different. Maybe I'm wrong. By all means, tell me if I'm wrong. Don't attack me harsh or anything. If you want to, fine, whatever. I'm not going to stop you. But I could definitely be wrong that the way you spend money on Christmas or anything for your children, if you're together or whatnot, is going to be different, or how you go about doing that. Um, I think you still want to do something nice for the children of your significant other or child of your significant other, by all means, because they can very well be uh, somebody. I mean, you're involved in their life, right? And they're involved in yours, um, and they very well could be your future as well. So you want to still be on good terms with them, which really is essential or key to a good relationship, is being on good terms with the children of your significant other if you're coming into that type of relationship. I don't know. I
I think
definitely
that's all
still
we
think
got on
that
budgeting.
what?
What? Go ahead.
No, what'd you say about budgeting? Come on.
Oh, I think you could just sum it up.
Yeah.
Unless you
So
had
what
some
about
more ideas.
what about this? When do you take out loans? I mean, I know loans are essential for because you're probably not paying 100% cash if you're having your basement redone if you don't have $15,000. So you're probably taking a loan out there. Um, or again, if you're doing a big project and you're not making $7,000 in a single paycheck, right? Um, so I mean, that's what I want to talk about a little bit. When do you consider taking a loan out?
Pretty much any time a major expense is needed. So I may have that money in savings, but I'm not going to drain my entire savings and not have that cushion if something were to happen, when I could have something like a monthly payment to make, and instead of wiping out my savings and being screwed if something happens. So I basically take, cars, home improvements, really anything that is a large chunk out of your monthly budget,
So is there a
or
point you
even
would actually
exceeds it.
stop taking loans out though? Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
if I had my cushion of 6 months combined, 6 months both of our salaries in savings, then I would. If I had plenty of cushion left after that expense is gone, then yeah, I wouldn't take out a loan. I would just pay cash. But I've never been in that
okay.
position. I wish.
Right. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I mean, I think there are certain points where you have to be able to say no, or you kind of put, let's say you are talking about a home improvement project. There's definitely times where you want to take a stop. Um, you know, right now we've got a few loans out there. Sam's got a personal loan for the engine that she had, her $7,000 engine repair. She's almost got that paid off. She took out a loan so we could get our new couch. It was a very egregious loan, or a very aggressive loan, where we had so much time to basically pay it all off at 0% interest APR. But after I think it was June here, uh, it would have skyrocketed to like 30 some percent or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, those are different types of loans, different types of things you got to think about. We have a window loan, or we got some windows done and we took out a loan for that. We're working on paying off our wet proof or waterproof basement still here. So we got a loan there. We got a loan for the windows. Her personal loan is almost paid off. I know I think that's actually about it. Nope, we've got our car loans, our car payments to the banks, right? Um, and then of course we do have our mortgage. So there's those are some of those loans that we have that are kind of necessities, right? Um, well, the home improvements aren't necessarily necessities, but I don't think we'd do any more home improvement ideas right now until we get a good chunk of those loans paid off.
Yeah.
Um, or maybe she's done with her car loan, like her personal loan for her car. Maybe I'm done with paying my car off here or my van. Because I mean, I've still got a few $1,000s left to pay on that one. Um, I mean, there's essential payments too. Like, what was it? College, for example, right? You had your student loan. Mine's already paid off.
Oh wow, good for you.
Well, I mean, you have what? It's a 10-year loan basically, or like you have 10 years to pay it off or something like that.
15.
It
I
depends.
refinanced though.
Yeah, you refinanced.
I couldn't afford the monthly payments anymore.
I went with the standard 10-year payoff. But I think at about I mean, I started making some aggressive payments towards that because there was a point in my life I was able to make more of aggressive payments. Or correction, I didn't make it. I made a very aggressive payment in the beginning, uh, kind of with my refund at one point. I put a good chunk of that refund towards it, so it was a really big boost. Where I could have just been like, no, I don't have to necessarily make a payment towards it for a few months. Um, didn't turn out to be that case. I obviously made payments, monthly payments, but at that point, and then it got to a point where it's like, okay, well, I then ended up using another refund as well eventually because it was only a few $1,000s or whatever, and Sam and I ended up just paying off that student loan, just to make it one less thing to have to worry about on a monthly scale. So if you're able to do it and be aggressive about it, try to pay it off. There was at one point where we did actually get a couch and we had a loan for it, but we ended up paying it off right away because I didn't want to sit on that payment. Even though it was loans are a good way to build credit if you know you can make the payments on time. But at the same time, if your credit is already good or comfortable and you don't really need to build more of it, just take care of it. I mean, they
Yeah.
tried to convince me at one point. It's like, this is a good way to build credit. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I've got, and you have other ways to build your credit too. If you have your credit card and you make your monthly payments on your credit card, you're still building credit because they see that you're able to make those payments on time. Or you do take out other loans, or you co-sign with somebody, knowing that that's going to help you build credit. That was the only way I could actually get a credit card in my first place because I never had credit to my name in college. So they tried to open a credit card for me, but I couldn't. My parents had to be co-signers.
Oh.
So yeah, that was fun stuff. I think it would have been different if I had a vehicle that was actually under my name when I was in high school or whatnot. But I had a hand-me-down at that point. So, but yeah, that's what I have to say. If you start seeing financial issues, stop taking loans out. If you start questioning if you have money, guys, this is where I would say I'm not, again, not an expert, just kind of going off of what I've been through, what Jared's been through. Start thinking about budgeting. Budgeting can seriously help you out, give you the idea of what's going on in your life. Maybe readjust or take things out. Yeah, sure, I know we hate taking away extracurricular activities for ourselves or our fun stuff, but sometimes you have to do what's going to be essential
Yep.
for yourself, because you don't want to necessarily, if you're okay living paycheck to paycheck, fine. But don't be in that situation where you all of a sudden get something repossessed because you can't make payments on it anymore. Because
Right.
that's not going to be fun. That's going to be something you, like a car. If your car gets repossessed, how are you supposed to get to work if you're not working from home?
Yep.
Or how are you supposed to get your children to school or whatnot? You gotta plan, and budgeting is a great way to plan for your financial future. So, any other thoughts, Jared, before we move on?
Nope. I'm ready to laugh.
All right. Speaking, I'm gonna do this because I can. Which brand of cars can you buy without going over budget? A Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm like, that's a good one because it's funny. My wife and I started a bank account to help with our weed budget. It's our joint account.
Nice.
A passenger was traveling on holiday on a budget airline. Would you like dinner? The cabin crew asked. What are my choices? Yes or no?
Uh,
Here's a little dark one. These are kind of dark, honestly. Oh, not maybe dark. This one is a tad more dark than some of the other, that joint account one. What do cannibals on a budget eat? Ramen noodles. All right. 2 options for keeping a budget that always has money. Add a 0 or move the decimal point. That's it, guys. Those are we're Leashed Dads here. Provide us with your feedback. And if you're a Spotify subscriber, excellent. You can tell us how we're doing via Spotify. Hit us up on Facebook. DM me on Twitter or X, whatever it's called nowadays. Or TikTok, Instagram as well. Darth Nomi for Twitter and TikTok. Send us an email. Hit us up on YouTube. Leave a comment on YouTube as well. Thank you again. We're Leashed Dads, and we'll see you next time.